Monday, Yukon, Purdue tonight on KTIK, by the way. So if you're driving home, just keep it here for all the pregame, postgame coverage and enjoy the national championship. Hey, callers, 208-424-9300. We want to get this going on the Double Tap Pub hotline because Prater and myself, we don't sit in the stands at Albertsons Stadium. We're special people. They put us all the way in the top corner of the top of the stickle, and it's actually a lot more boring up there than it is for you in the stands.
Yes.
But we want to hear from you because the Boise Dev article, Don Day, last week that came out, had renderings of the proposed changes to the north end zone at Albertsons Stadium, and it's basically way more money, a little fewer seats. In particular, the rabid, passionate north end zone crew. Well, it looks like it's not going to be that way anymore, Prater. It's going to be the bigwigs, the posh. They're going to get the north end zone, and it's going to come with a lot of really cool stuff that I think will help this program a lot moving forward. However, you're seeing the backlash on social media. People are texting the show on it saying this is not the right move, taking the most passionate part of the stadium out and moving them to who the heck knows where. So we want to hear from you, person who goes to Boise State football games. Maybe you sit in the north end zone, maybe you don't. What's the best thing for your football program right now? Do you have an issue with your stadium now losing its capacity? But is it worth the trade to get this beautiful north end zone project that you can see on BoiseDev.com? Line these calls up, JP. I'm going to start with Mike Prater. I saw you've been going back and forth on X with some people on this too, Prater, and people who've sat in that part of the stadium for a long time, they're pretty fired up. They do not want this to happen.
I get it. I 1,000% get it. Nobody's going to beat up anybody over this, but it's the right thing to do, and it's the right thing to have happen. Fortunately, Boise State, I think, and again, next week, I don't know exactly the timing, guys, but the next week, Jeremiah Dickey's supposed to have a press conference, a presentation to lay out a lot more details. In the meantime, do go to Boise Dev. Don Day and his crew over there did a fantastic job with a lot of details. As Johnny said, 1,570 fewer seats based on Don Day's reporting. The north end zone is now going to be completely obliterated. That's about 3,300 seats if you include, that corner slice there as well. So that's a lot of people. I'm going to beg to differ. I'm not sure that that's the heartbeat and the loudest, most authentic section in the stadium. I love the people there. I love the people in the south end zone, and I think all of Albertsons Stadium together, builds this family, and nobody really stands out. But I totally get it, guys. You're going to have to pay more. You're going to get moved around. The band is going to get moved around. I want them to put the band right there on the 50-yard line. I'm about the third row behind that chain link fence that nobody can see anyway, right behind the visitor's bench. That's where I want the band to be, to get down there and just mess with that opponent's and do what you do sometimes in basketball where you put the band behind the basket on the second half. But
I like it.
We'll see what happens, but I'm sure they're not going to go there. But the north end zone is going to change. It'll be fine this year. I don't know the exact details next year. I know the stadium will be impacted next year. I have a feeling that there won't even be fans in the north end zone in 2025, and then 2026. Hopefully they can get this thing debuted and get out there. But for this year, season tickets are already out. The north end zone is in play. Everybody can go buy season tickets in the north end zone. It's a general admission season ticket area based on what I can tell. I'm looking at some of Boise State's season ticket stuff, propaganda that they put out over the last couple of months. I believe the north end zone, and somebody call or text and tell me if I'm wrong. I believe it's general admission, but it is a season ticket.
Okay.
You can buy a season ticket for $199 in the north end zone. That's the second cheapest section in the entire stadium. And then it's just, first come, first serve in terms of the seatings, I think. Now, with that said, there's also in the upper top of the corners, you can get a season ticket up there for $174.
Up in the wings?
Up in the wings, especially on the southeast side of the wings. You can certainly move there. And then also, this is just this year. I'm not sure about 2025 and 2026. There's other spots out there where you can get season tickets for about $25 more than what's in the north end zone. That's the second tier of the south end zone, and then some of the curves, the bottom halves of some of those curves. There are options out there. So the initial thought is you're kicking me out of my favorite section, and now I got to go spend more. You're going to have to spend more, but you might not have to spend more than like $25 to $50, which I think is a big investment. Boise State hopes to make millions of dollars, and there's multiple reasons for this plan. But I get the angst, but at the same time, fans have to realize that this is business, and Boise State business of football is very serious. And I'm all for all the changes and all the cash and all the chaos that's going to go with it.
Bronco Nation, what's your thoughts? I mean, are you the blue collar fan? Are you the small guy and you feel that, you know what, now you're being priced out of your beloved north end zone? I don't know how many people who have sat in the north end zone for the last 2 decades are going to continue to sit in the north end zone and have to pay whatever price is going to come with that whole Prater porch, luxury, Robin Leach, rich and famous lifestyle section. I don't know. Let's check on the Double Tap Pub hotline first. Jordan, appreciate you holding. What's your thoughts on this, Jordan? Welcome to Idaho Sports Talk.
What's up, guys? So this is Bittersweet as a North End Zone season ticket holder myself. There are a couple things that we're going to lose here. One of which is that general admission. You're correct, Prater. General admission opportunity as a student, always loved being there camping out at times to be able to get those first few rows, right? Love doing that with the North End Zone. Losing a general admission section is a bummer. It's so easy when you want to bring a few extra kids along for a game to be able to scoop up a few more tickets, maybe. A little bit lighter investment. So you're losing that. But I do want to say, the South End Zone just brings it to a whole different level that I wish the North End Zone could maybe hold a bigger candle too. So I'm just going to say, we still got that, and collectively, I think we're going to be great moving forward. But it is bittersweet because it is so sweet. I will be relocating, spending maybe another $30 a season ticket. But the return on that is going to be huge to the tunes of millions of dollars. And when you look at our program, I don't think a lot of fans understand. We used to be the top resource program in the WAC. We are now in the middle of the pack in the Mountain West. We have got to do stuff like this. And you know what? In 30, 40 years, I might be the old guy needing some cushioned seats. So I might be returning to the North End Zone. We'll see how things shake out.
It's a good way to look at it. 208-424-9300, Prater.
According to Don Day in his Boise Dev story, Cody Gogler, the assistant athletic director, was quoted in here saying they make about $300,000 to $330,000 in revenue from the current North End seating situation. I think that is per football season, I believe. That annual revenue will go from $330,000 to up to $4 to $5 million.
That's crazy. That's non-comparable. That to me makes this thing a no-brainer. And I hate for the little guy too. So if I'm the little guy, I'm saying, okay, so I've been in the North End Zone for X amount of years. Fine. Okay. You're pushing me to the boonies, wherever you're going to throw me in the stadium. And Prater, I'm with you. It's probably going to be in the wings at the way, 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 way top. The only place you can kind of sometimes find empty seats in a packed Albertsons Stadium. And I also understand the guy in his car right now saying, you know what? For more money in a lesser seat, you know what? No, I'm not going to do this. And that's fine. But they're losing number of seats in this stadium to begin with, and there's always going to be other people, I think, who want to buy more. I got Rory in Nampa, Prater, on the Cloverdale Plumbing text line. He says, I'm a blue-collar season ticket holder in Section 26. This is a great move for Boise State. Besides, the South End Zone is by far the superior and louder section. I'd probably agree with that, too. Since they've added and they've rebuilt that South End Zone, it's bigger. That, to me, draws a lot more false starts than any other spot in that stadium. And that stadium is so good at drawing false starts, Prater. 208-424-9300.
For the 2024 season, I just told you that $199 gets you a season ticket, and that's GA, first come, first serve, in the North End Zone. You can buy South End Zone specific dedicated seats for $284. So it's about $85 more. That's not terrible.
I know.
For people with fixed income,
other people's money.
I do too. With fixed income and all that kind of stuff,
totally.
You may have decisions to make there are options, though, at least this year. I don't know what the options are going to be like in 25 or 26 and beyond. We'll certainly get you those details as fast as we can and when they become available. But maybe some people make decisions. And for me, it's not so much about the money, because they're going to fill the stadium no matter what. And it's too bad that the little guy may or may not get squeezed out. To me, it's about the emotions. It's about the neighbors. If you've been sitting with the same dudes and gals and kids and fun and families for 15 years in the north end zone, and you show up with your buddies and your pals, the emotional part of that sucks. Really, really sucks. But they're giving you a couple of years to kind of figure this out. There are plenty of options. The options will continue to grow. And the benefit is, because everybody's a Boise State fan, and everybody has to be best when it comes to the betterment of Boise State football. And I truly believe this is for the betterment of Boise State football.
What do you guys think? 208-424-9300. Jim in Boise says, over the years, I've watched football games from every part of Albertsons Stadium except the Stickle Sky Center. And the worst place to watch a game in that stadium is the north end zone. Good riddance to that old high school bleacher seat area, too.
Wow.
We don't want that anymore. I know what Jim's talking about. You know, that corner where it's that high school bleacher.
Oh, that slice there?
Yes.
Yeah.
That is gone with this, too. And that, I mean, okay, that's kind of tacky. I mean, people come into that stadium like, really? That's still here? From the aesthetics, Prater, this new North End Zone project is beautiful. I can't wait to see this thing come together. And for Boise State to go to a different level outside of the Stickle, let people who want to spend an enormous amount of money to support their team, but not put them up in the Sky Center way high on the ground. They still want to get a better seat.
Yep.
This allows to do that. And you've seen it, Prater. Now, every stadium that's built has the field level suite and field level luxury experience. Albertsons Stadium doesn't have anything that has to do with luxury outside of the Stickle, and this will give them that. And I hate smashing the little guy too, or at least saying, hey, little guy, now you got to go over there. You know, you're up there. Have fun. We still appreciate you. But Prater, I'm going to ask for a redesign of several areas of this stadium. You said you want the band behind the visitors bench about at the 50-yard line. Why don't they throw the student section somewhere behind the visitors bench too, like they do at some schools too? I want to know where the student section gets placed. You think it's going to be in the same exact spot as it is now? They won't touch that.
No, they won't touch that. Well, I'm not going to sit here and say they won't touch that. They won't put them on the 50. That's way too many premium seats there. So I like where the students are. I think that's perfect. You can expand it south if you need another section, if the student demand becomes pretty good. And the students at times have been pretty darn good over the last couple of years. Other times, not so much. I wouldn't move the students at all. I have no idea what Boise State's plan is there. We'll certainly ask Jeremiah Dickey that next week when we have access to him and he's talking about this. But yeah, I just want, those seats right up against the chain link fence on the west side, right behind the visitors bench. I wouldn't pay a penny for those seats because I can't see squat. And I'm not saying the band give them a spot where they can't see, but I'm putting the band there because they're not premium seats. It does mess with the visitors. Maybe there's a conference rule where you can't do that. I'm not sure. I'd have to look into that kind of stuff. But me being the vindictive athletic director that I would be, I'd put the band there and just let them torment the opposing team.
Have you seen how Oregon State does its student section?
I don't.
Very similar to what the Vandals do. It is like premium seats right behind the visitors bench. And I like how that works out, but I also understand where you're coming from too. I mean, those are primo real estate seats, and you don't want to give those to the students who are going to show up hammered and leave at halftime and whatnot already. So basically, will the current North End Zone season ticket holders, where will they be sent? We still don't know. We have a feeling you said probably in the wings.
They could go anywhere they want.
Oh, you're right. It's not a certain section. They have to pick and choose what area they want in the stadium.
Yeah, and you can take your friends if you've been going to the game with the same group of 12 people. Go find another spot. You might have to pop another $50 or whatever per season ticket, or however it shakes out. We'll see everything in terms of next year, but it's a 2-year transition. And I believe by the time that season tickets go on sale for 2026, We'll be so educated on this and brainwashed. Let's go ahead and put it up there. Jeremiah Dickey will brainwash you over these next 2 years to think that this is a good thing, because it is a good thing. It's an easy sell. It's a smart sell. It's the right sell, and everything that comes with it. It's going to look cooler. It's going to be cooler. There's a lot of infrastructure in there for the student athletes. I mean, for instance, underneath all this seating that we're talking about is a 350-seat banquet hall for student athletes only, because Jeremiah Dickey says he's got no place where he can bring all the student athletes together into one room and they can eat, meet, and do all their kind of things together. So he wants this gathering place for student athletes, and there's going to be this big 350-person, mess hall, meeting hall, whatever you want to call it. Lots and lots of infrastructure like that underneath these seats. And then obviously the field level suites. I love the field level suites behind the north goalpost.
Me too.
I think that's really, really cool, man.
Oh, yeah.
I love that
those
stuff.
are going to be sweet.
I think those are really,
Prater,
really
you got to
cool.
have a buddy of yours who gets one of those, and then you can smuggle me and you down there. We'll go from the press box. We'll hang out and watch the game from the field suite, huh?
I'll fight anybody in Albertsons Stadium who thinks they're getting shafted right now. Ball game, and I don't pay for our seats.
Never.
But we have the worst seats in the entire building.
We probably do. All right, JP, on the other side of this, let's get back to the Final Four. And another reminder, if you want tickets to the Boise Off-Road and Outdoor Expo this weekend at Expo, Idaho, text the word Expo to 208-424-9300 on the Cloverdale Plumbing text line. Do that right now. We'll come back with the Final Four.
From the Beacon Plumbing Traffic Studios, this is Ticket Traffic.